Today we're going to start with football. Getting super close to NFL free agency. So I have an idea. We should say where we think some of the top free agents are going to go. Let's start with a quarterback. A lot of people are underestimating his value this offseason. Dak Prescott coming off a franchise tag, a huge leg injury at the beginning of the season. Where do you guys think he's going to end up? Are you think the Cowboys are going to re-sign him? Personally, I think he might get a franchise tag again or sign a short-term deal. I don't think they're going to sign him long-term, or if they do, he's not going to accept the money that they offer.
I believe Dak Prescott's going to stay a Dallas Cowboy. I think he's going to receive, if he does get a long-term deal, I believe 25 to 30 million per year.
Mm-hmm.
But a franchise tag, I wouldn't count it out. I feel like Jerry Jones is going to pull that out of his bag again and tag up Dak until he proves that he could be an elite quarterback coming back from this terrible injury.
Well, yeah. I mean, Dak Prescott had an amazing start to the year, as we all know.
He did.
He led the league in passing yards and touchdowns like well after he was injured. So, I mean, just having that kind of start to the season proves that he does have the potential to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You just got to see how he bounces back.
I feel like he's too much of a fan favorite in Dallas, even within the organization, not just the fans. I feel like everybody there loves him, and it was a very serious injury, and you never know how a player is going to come back from that, but you can't let just this one injury make the Dallas Cowboys want to give up on Dak Prescott. I feel like they re-sign him.
I 100% agree. You can never give up on an elite quarterback. It's one of the most important. It's the most important position in football. Another one. I don't think this one's much of argument. Chris Godwin, receiver for the Bucs, during the Super Bowl celebration, Bruce Arians told him he's not going anywhere. So I think maybe worst case scenario, it's a franchise tag for Godwin for the year, and the Bucs try to run it back.
Well, receivers, that's a big what if because many teams are in need of wide receiver. I know Baltimore's looking for one to pair up with Lamar Jackson. I don't know if Chris Godwin's the fit there, even though he did play a crucial part in winning the Super Bowl for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I believe Godwin, there's a big chance he's going to stay, but you never know.
Yeah, I think that Chris Godwin of your Penn State Nittany Lions, I think he stays in Tampa Bay. I feel like he's got a good thing going on with Tom Brady, and I mean they just have an elite 1-2 punch of wide receivers when it comes to him and Mike Evans, and I feel like Tampa's going to do whatever it takes to be able to keep them.
Yeah, don't count out Scotty Miller too. Scotty Miller coming off a great year. Definitely a great deep threat weapon for Tom Brady. Another receiver, Allen Robinson. There's a lot of talk of him getting franchise tagged and traded this offseason. The Bears could really use offensive line, and we got a Bears fan on this podcast. Bears could use an offensive tackle, and there's a lot of talk of A-Rob getting tagged and traded to the Ravens for Orlando Brown. Matt, how you feeling about that, man?
Obviously, as a Bears fan, I love Allen Robinson. He single-handedly won us some games this season. I would not want him to go. But as a Bears fan, we do need offensive tackles. Orlando Brown would be crucial to this team. We do have Darnell Mooney, who's a great, promising young rookie. But other than that, our receiving core is pretty thin. Javon Wims is on the hot seat along with Anthony Miller. Allen Robinson, I would love to have him. But for the whole overall team, I don't think he's going to stay.
There was also reports that came out today. Allen Robinson said that he hasn't heard from the Bears since the end of the season, since the end of the regular season. So that's not sounding very promising for Allen Robinson's chances to be a Bear next year.
Yeah, that doesn't exactly surprise me. I feel like you got to take a look at Allen Robinson, and I feel like he was a very underrated wide receiver this season. I feel like he put up numbers better than anybody had anticipated on him doing so.
100% agree.
And I feel like because of that, he's going to want a big contract. And I feel like the Bears are they're not in win now mode. They're like right at that stage right before. And we clearly saw with them making the playoffs at finishing at 8-8. And I feel like them taking on the contract of Robinson, which I feel like you can assume is going to be, that's going to be a pretty penny to pay for him. I feel like that's not what they need right now. And I get it. The wide receiving core is thin, but I feel like that's not really what they need to build on right now.
Yeah, I agree. Like Matt said, you got Darnell Mooney, drafted him out of the 5th round this year. Definitely got over expectations. I didn't really expect him to come in and put up the numbers that he did, being one of the best receivers in the draft class. I mean, if you redrafted today, he might be a 1st round pick, might be a 2nd round pick, way over the 5th that he got taken. So it definitely
Yeah,
brings a lot of uncertainty.
just another wide receiver out of Pennsylvania State University.
Yeah. Dan, we know you go to Penn State. We get it.
Okay, and just in case you guys forgot,
Yeah. He's a Nittany.
Yeah.
Another receiver, this could probably be the last receiver that we talk about for a minute. Kenny Galladay, of the Detroit Lions, can kind of assume that he's not going to be there next year with the Lions trading Matt Stafford. It doesn't look like they're going to be in a position to win anything. And Kenny Galladay's getting up there in age, probably wants to go to a contender. I can definitely see him signing with the Ravens. Ravens have some money to work, and Galladay's not going to be a super expensive free agent to sign this year.
I believe that Kenny Galladay is going to go to the Packers as he's familiar with the division. Aaron Rodgers needs a weapon desperately. He needs a 1-2 punch with Adams and Galladay would be a great fit. I think the Packers spend and bring him to the squad.
It's also very possible. I can see that happening.
I don't have a specific team in mind, but I definitely don't see him going back to Detroit. It's getting tougher and tougher nowadays to keep any player that's on the Lions in Detroit. Matt, that was a really good point that you brought up with staying within the division. Danny, when you had brought up Baltimore, I mean, I feel like that's definitely a position that they could use somebody strong at, but I feel like staying within the division would be the best idea.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. NFC North, I mean, in recent years, it's been kind of just overpowered by the Packers. I mean, you have the Bears there. Bears are a great team, but they just haven't really been able to put it together. But Kenny Galladay going to the Packers is definitely a big possibility.
It also comes down to who's got the bigger wallet.
That's very true. Packers do not have money to spend. The cap came out the other day. Packers are a few mil over the cap. So we'll have to see what kind of moves are made. I definitely think a lot of players are going to get cut this year to make up room. But we'll see. There's going to be a lot more free agents than you think. Moving to the offensive line, Trent Williams. He's a free agent this year. He's one of the best tackles in football, but he's also 32 years old. So, I mean, you never know where he's going to end up. I think probably the best fit for him is to re-sign with the Niners, but you never know.
Never know. The Bengals could be a big push. I mean, they need to protect Joe Burrow at all costs.
Yeah, but the Bengals
available. I'd put the bag and spend on him.
Bengals are definitely a player for him, but the Bengals are definitely in position to draft Penei Sewell in the draft. Easily the best tackle in the draft right now. Super raw, but also the upside is there. You need to protect Joe Burrow at all costs. I just don't think they spend their money on Trent Williams. I think they move it elsewhere, but it's definitely good landing space for him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if San Francisco decided to re-sign him. I mean, they obviously didn't have the season that they were looking for after being the NFC championships after being the NFC champions last season. They had a tough season this year with injuries. And so I feel like they almost were ready to throw the towel in pretty early and were ready to focus on next season. And I feel like he could be a big part of that team next season to get them back to that NFC championship game.
Yeah, I completely agree. If they can be healthy, they can definitely run it back. They're also in position to draft a quarterback in this draft, which Jimmy Garoppolo has not panned out for them in the way that you would think. Coming from that New England scheme, you would think he's going to be a great quarterback, but can't really get the ball down the field like that. They've been relying on the run game.
Do we know what pick they have? Do they have a 1st-round pick?
They do have a 1st-round pick. Let me check super fast.
Also, talking about Garoppolo, it's even hard for him to stay on the field, dealing with tons of injuries.
That's very true.
And along the defense, too. I wouldn't be surprised to see the 49ers easily back in the playoffs next year if Bosa comes back healthy, along with the quarterback.
Raheem Mostert.
Yeah.
Raheem Mostert was rattled with injuries this year. Yeah. They have the 12th pick in the draft.
They've got the 12th overall pick in the draft this year.
Yes. So they're
But
definitely in position to draft a quarterback like Trey Lance,
Trey Lance.
who I think is he did not play for a huge school this year, but also the arm talent is obviously there. You watch his games, you watch his footage. He can get the ball down the field. He has a cannon. He's very accurate. He's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in this draft class by far. I think if he's there, if he's on the board for the Niners to draft, you take him.
I mean, do you think that they can? I don't. I'm not familiar with what picks they have in other rounds, but do you think they can afford to maybe not pick a quarterback this year with the first round pick and maybe focus on a secondary pick
I
with that
mean,
12th overall selection?
yeah, they could definitely focus on some defense. They have a great defense, but can never upgrade a secondary too much. And Mac Jones might be available in the second round for them, but I think he
Yeah,
after the Senior Bowl, he probably moved his stock up to probably a late first round pick.
probably.
Um,
I,
so you
I
never,
would I would say mid earliest would probably be mid first round.
yeah, but I mean, I don't see 5 quarterbacks going in the first half of the first round. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
I think. I mean, my prediction is 4 quarterbacks in the top 10, which is still crazy. But also, this is a very quarterback heavy draft. Quarterback and offensive
Who are you
line.
thinking for those? Who are you thinking for those four? Fields,
Uh,
Lawrence,
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence definitely going number 1 to the
Trask.
Jaguars. No, Zach Wilson.
is
Zach Wilson.
easily going to.
Oh, Wilson, yeah.
I think Zach Wilson's going to get drafted by the Jets. Number 2.
Really?
I think he's a way better talent than Justin Fields. I mean, Justin Fields, don't get me wrong, he's a great quarterback. He played very good this season, but I think
Yeah.
Zach Wilson had a way better end to the season and probably voter or pick fatigue. Justin Fields was ranked number 2 the whole year. The Jets could come out and be like, this guy's just picking him apart. This guy has this, and that, not as good of his game as Zach Wilson. So I think Zach Wilson, if he doesn't get drafted by the Jets, he can go to the Falcons and play a year behind Matt Ryan, like a little Patrick Mahomes situation. But also Trey Lance could be a top 10 pick. The Panthers are desperately in need of a quarterback. And there's other teams in the top 10 that could take a quarterback.
Can you imagine if for some reason Jacksonville? I highly doubt it. But can you imagine if somehow Lawrence falls to number 2 to the Jets because Jacksonville takes Mac Jones at number 1 because he's a hometown kid?
There's absolutely no way.
No way. But
Mac Jones
it's
is
just one of those. It's one of those hypothetical situations, like.
Yeah, I feel you, but there's no way.
I believe Mac Jones is going to fall into the 19 to 20 area. I mean, the Washington football team definitely needs a quarterback. I mean,
they re-signed Chad Henne. I think they might rock with Henne for the season.
Do they really think that Chad Henne is the future of the football?
Or Heineke. My bad. I mean Taylor Heineke, not Chad Henne.
That's right. He was on the
win against the Buccaneers, but then again, adding Mac Jones maybe to some competition, you never know with bringing in a guy like Heineke. One good game doesn't really define his whole career.
Yeah, but a good game in the playoffs is definitely valuable.
Definitely impressive. I'd still look.
But was Heineke's game against Tampa Bay even a full game?
Yeah. It was a full game. The Alex Smith.
Game. I don't know why.
Alex Smith was out. Alex Smith was out with I believe it was an ankle injury. Or
that's right. It was it was on the same leg. I think. What was it?
Yeah, it was the same leg that it was the same leg that he broke. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was the opposite leg actually.
Was it? Well, either way, he was out with a leg injury, and Heineke started the whole game. Played very good. Almost beat the Buccaneers, the eventual Super Bowl champ Buccaneers. So, but we could definitely talk about the draft later next week when getting closer to draft time. But next guy, Justin Simmons had easily the best year of his career. He was All-Pro second team. I think it would be absolutely insane if the Broncos don't re-sign him to a big deal, being one of the best safeties in the league this coming season or this past season. But what do you guys think? How are you guys feeling about Justin Simmons?
I believe Simmons is going to receive a bag from the Broncos. They'd be stupid not to re-sign him.
Absolute bag, yeah.
$90 million over 5 years.
I could definitely see that.
Very, very nice deal.
I think
a lot of help.
I think maybe like an 80 mil, but like 40 guaranteed. Mm-hmm. Like just a very big deal, and like I said before, you can never have too much secondary help in this league.
Exactly.
The Broncos can't afford to weaken this spot, especially with how weak they already are in the quarterback game. I feel like you need to put as much money into this as you can, and then with whatever you've got left, you need to go out and get yourself a good quarterback. The Broncos really aren't that far away. They're not as close. I wouldn't say that they're necessarily as close as a team like the Bears are, but I feel like they're definitely close.
It's debatable because there's a lot of reports that they're going to release Von Miller, and just go full rebuild mode. I don't think Drew Lock is the answer. As much as I love him as a player, I just don't think he has the arm talent to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
But I know that they've got a decent wide receiver.
They have a great receiver core with Cortland Sutton, KJ Hamler, Jerry Jeudy. It's just a great receiver core. But and they're
at tight end.
Of course, no fan, insane. But yeah, I mean, receivers.
Von Miller being at age 31, I don't expect him to be re-signed. So it doesn't surprise me that the Broncos are going to choose those actions.
Exactly,
especially
but also
what he's going through with scandals about. I'm not going to get into it, but he is going through some scandals.
I mean, yeah, I think we all know what's going on with Von Miller's personal life.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can move on from that. But I don't think a good receiving core matters without a good quarterback. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers proved that this past season. That hurts, but
that's gotta hurt you, doesn't it, Danny?
Yeah, it does. From one safety to another, Anthony Harris is a free agent, coming off a pretty solid year. Not a bad year for the I believe he was a Minnesota Viking.
That is true.
But it looks like the prediction is the Cleveland Browns could pursue him. They could really use a safety on the right side of the field. They just drafted Grant Delpit in the second round. Playing Anthony Harris on the opposite side of him, I think that'd be a great pickup for the Browns.
Yeah, the Browns are a great team, and just adding more depth would just help them. Almost beat the Kansas City Chiefs, who ended up making the Super Bowl, but losing Tom Brady, of course. The Cleveland Browns, I wouldn't count them out to make a Super Bowl in the next 2-3 years. I think Harris and building to the draft, maybe some other players, Cleveland could get a title someday.
I mean, you think about the Browns team, like all their best players are still very young. Myles Garrett still in his mid-20s, and he's one of the best defensive players in football right now. Baker Mayfield having a great season this past year, especially with the receiver injuries that he had. Having to play games with practice squad receivers as your starters. He was put in a tough position and still had a great season. As a Steelers fan, I still think the Browns are the best team in the AFC North. They're the team to beat right now.
100%.
Dan, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think Anthony Harris is going?
Not much really to add to that. Cleveland, I feel like would be a pretty good fit, but I feel like you two pretty much covered up some of the major points really that there are to say about that.
All right. Let's get into the big debate here. JJ Watt, as we all know, recently released by the Houston Texans. There's a lot of reports about the Steelers, the Packers, the Browns. He can basically go anywhere in football this year. Tampa Bay. He can go anywhere that, however, there's a lot of reports that are saying teams would have to offer him significant amount more money and years than the Steelers would to pry him away from Pittsburgh, because he has said he does want to play with his brothers in Pittsburgh because the age of TJ, they couldn't play together in high school in any kind of level of football. But what do you guys think? Where do you think JJ is going?
I think JJ Watt, any team that adds him, is getting a competitor. The only thing you have to worry about is injuries, but JJ just plays hard, and when he is healthy, just plays amazing. I think, as you said, the Packers would be a great fit, Cleveland, the Steelers, of course. I think any team that adds JJ is getting a significant boost to their defense, 100%.
I can't think of any one team in specifics. Obviously Cleveland's got to be in that win now mentality, and JJ Watt can definitely push them over that line. Is seeing how far they got into the playoffs. It's tough to pin him to one specific team, but any team that gets him, you're getting a player with a lot of class and a hardworking player who comes up to plays, every snap that he can, and he doesn't give up.
I completely agree with that. He's fought through injuries his whole career. I believe he's won NFL Man of the Year, Walter Payton Man of the Year before. There was a hurricane hit Texas one time a few years ago, and he raised more money than his contract was worth for that year through GoFundMe, right. And he donated it all to relief funds. And no matter what organization gets him, you're getting a stand-up guy in JJ Watt.
You're getting a guy who's great both on the field and off, who's just great for the community.
Exactly. And a amazing locker room guy. He's been one of the best defensive players of all time while healthy. Even if the injuries are taking him off the field, you still have him in the locker room to rally up the guys.
Definitely. Big morale booster.
Exactly. Next, we're going to go with two linebackers from Tampa that are probably expected to get very big contracts. Shaq Barrett and Levante David, who both had great Super Bowls coming off amazing campaigns this past season. I think Tampa would love to have them both back, but realistically, money-wise, I don't know if that's possible. What do you guys think is going to happen with them?
I believe neither of them stay on Buccaneers.
Wow.
Shaq Barrett is insane. I think he's getting a very hefty deal, putting up multiple sacks in Super Bowl, I believe.
Definitely pressured Patrick Mahomes about every play because they had no offensive line.
Definitely.
Yeah.
He had Mahomes running in circles. But
I could probably have blocked better for Patrick Mahomes, and I am 6 foot and about 150 pounds.
Yeah, exactly. The Chiefs had no help. But moving on to these linebackers in the Buccaneers, I think David is aging. I think there's a chance he could stay a Buccaneer, but you never know. Multiple teams that are contending can give him around $10 million a year, which is definitely good for him. But when it comes to Shaq Barrett, he's definitely in 15 towards $20 million a year.
Yeah. Levante David is 31 years old. I think Levante probably would re-sign with Tampa, but Shaq Barrett's just going to go where the money goes.
Exactly.
With coming off the kind of season he had, it's going to be hard to turn down the guaranteed money that he's going to get.
100%.
Yeah, especially being 31 years old, you're probably going to be signing probably one of maybe the last two contracts that you'll sign in your career. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tampa at least offered, but who knows how much they'll have to offer with some of these other players that they have to pay. But I can't really think of any specific team in which these guys may go. But I guess I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if they didn't wind up re-signing with Tampa Bay.
Shaq Barrett had the third highest pressure rate among edge rushers this season. And that's having guys like TJ Watt off the edge who had an amazing year and he was the third best pass rusher pressure-wise. But also Tampa Bay has to look to pay Godwin, Levante David, Shaq Barrett, Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, and Ndamukong Suh. So it's going to be an interesting offseason to say the least for that team. And our final guy here, I don't think he's one of the top free agents. However, he is one that must be talked about. Juju Smith-Schuster. He might be the Steelers' best receiver right now. Coming off the kind of season he had, you never know how much he's going to get paid. As a Steelers fan, I'd love for him to come back. He's my favorite player in the league. Always has been since he got drafted. But realistically, I don't see him turning down the money that the Jets are going to offer him. Jets have said that they might rock with Sam Darnold this year, might not draft a quarterback. You definitely need receiver help. Signing Allen Robinson and Juju, or trading for Allen Robinson and getting Juju, signing two receivers is a must this offseason for the Jets. So I don't think that they turned down offering Juju a bunch of money.
Yeah, I totally agree with Juju. I don't know if he's a better dancer than he is a receiver, but
it's probably not.
I think the Jets could offer him a good deal, and I don't think he could turn away the bright side of New York City. I think he's going to become a Jet this season.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he somehow managed to stay in Pittsburgh if he took whatever contract it was that they were willing to give him. But it also doesn't surprise me if Juju went where the money was. But do you think Juju is ready to handle that New York media?
I think Juju's definitely ready. Juju's a great guy. I've met him once. Signed my helmet for me. I was very happy about that. Juju's a great guy. I think he can definitely handle media. He had to this whole season. Media was always on top of him for some reason. Probably his dancing.
Oh yeah.
But Juju's a great guy. He's a great on-field player. He's gonna get paid what he deserves. But with the Steelers having Mike Hilton, Cam Sutton, Bud Dupree, Juju Smith-Schuster as free agents this year, Alejandro Villanueva, it's gonna be hard for the Steelers to make money while we're still 15 mil over the cap. So we can't sign anybody at this point in time. But it's gonna be hard. We're gonna. I would love Juju to come back. Juju's mom has said that she believes Juju should resign with Steelers, but you never know what could happen. That's why free agency is the most fun part of the year.
Not surprised that his mother wants him to do that. You know, you always want to try to stay with the team that first gave you that chance for as long as you can.
Yeah, 100% agree. Every team, every player has said that they would like to play for the team that drafted them for the whole career. You know, you get drafted, you say, you know, this is my team forever, but then you never know how it ends. But I believe that's all the time we have for football talk today. We're going to move over to basketball.